Well, I guess people might be asking themselves why I'm talking to you at this point in time, but I mean, we both know it's a very appropriate thing for me and you to be having this conversation, because, you know, I was very lucky to be able to work on your footage and make a documentary called Get Back, and now your original movie, Let It Be, is finally been restored and is coming out. So,
well, you've always been very kind about Let It Be, Peter, which has had a bumpy ride over the years for a variety of reasons, as you know. And I was knocked out by what you were able to do with Get Back, using all the footage which I'd shot 50 years previously. So in a funny way, I look at Let It Be as the father of Get Back.
The interesting thing with that whole Get Back project and the footage that you shot, as you were filming it in January 1969, is I come to think of it as one of the most productive periods of that the Beatles ever had. I mean, in that 1 month that your cameras were filming them, you know, they not just, you know, wrote and recorded or finished off the songs and recorded the songs that appeared ultimately on the Let It Be album. They were composing and rehearsing the majority of the Abbey Road songs.
What was one of the fascinating things about Let It Be was it was originally going to be a concert. They were going to perform somewhere. So I was going to do a concert movie with the Beatles, and they hadn't been in public. They hadn't performed for 1966. But then after about 10 days, we're not doing a concert anymore. We're doing a documentary.
And so this footage that you were shooting just for a sort of a little lead-up trailer type piece ended up being a large part of what you had to craft a film from, because and you never actually shot it with that in mind.
What we were getting was wonderful stuff, but there was a certain amount of repetition to it. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do with this? How do I make sense? What's the conclusion going to be? How do we resolve this particular episode in their lives? And that's what led us to The Roof as the best conclusion I could come up with, which turned out to be quite a good one, to all the documentary stuff which had taken over our lives and become the film.
All you're doing is you're trying to do the job that you were asked to do, you know, from day one.
I had this vision. It would start at 5 in the morning and end at midnight with 2,000 people in an amphitheater, and people would have come across the desert, all various people in that neck of the world, to see this concert, and it would be the event that you would want it to be, being the new Beatles concert. So I was very keen on that, and I almost had it. The amphitheater, I think, almost.
Oh, no, it came close.
Almost.
It came close, yeah.
And then, as you know as well as I do, that's when George left.
Yeah.
And so, and then everything tumbled around like going in the washing machine. And then the blacks became the pinks and the whites and the greens and everything like that. And you had a totally different scenario that you were trying to figure out what to do with.
Your experience day to day in 1969 is very, very different to the way people view this footage today, because for the simple fact is that you were hearing these songs for the very, very first time. And yet today, we look at that footage today and we know the song that they're trying to figure out. We know what that is. We're shouting out the words because they haven't figured out the words yet.
One of the reasons I'm very glad about it coming out again is, and I'm not a kind of self-pitying person at all, it really didn't get a fair shake the first time. But I think one of the things which excites me about Let It Be coming out again is that finally it's going to get a chance to be embraced for the curious and fascinating character that it is, I think.